The idea that killed. We often assume that dangerous ideas vanish with time, that they belong to the past, buried by the progress of science, democracy, and human rights. But history tells a different story. Ideas don't die. They evolve. They change form, language, and justification. And sometimes, they wait until power needs them again. In every generation, there are voices that label certain groups as less than, as burdens, as unworthy of life. And disturbingly, these ideas often return dressed in the language of reason, efficiency, even compassion. That's how evil survives, not by shouting, but by whispering, "This is for the greater good." It's easy to focus on the horrors of action, gas chambers, wars, mass graves. But those actions didn't begin with violence. They began with an idea. And that idea didn't come from a soldier or a tyrant. It came from a scientist, a doctor, a scholar. The beginning of atrocity is always an idea. The most terrifying crimes in history were not always committed by monsters. They were made possible by minds who believed they were doing the right thing, or at least doing something necessary. Evil often disguises itself as logic. It doesn't always look like hatred. Sometimes it looks like a spreadsheet, a medical chart, a scientific paper. That is why we must pay close attention, not just to what is being done, but to what is being thought, and more dangerously, what is being justified. Alfred Hoche, the doctor who opened the door. Alfred Hoche was not a Nazi. He never met Hitler. He wasn't a member of any fascist party. He was a respected professor of psychiatry, a physician, and a man of science. When Hitler rose to power, Hoche had already retired. He didn't participate in the Nazi regime, at least not directly. But his influence ran deep. In 1920, years before the first gas chamber, Hoche co-wrote a book that would change history. Allowing the destruction of life unworthy of life. In it, he argued that certain people, the mentally ill, the severely disabled, were not truly alive in the human sense. They had no consciousness, no self-direction, no social value. In cold, clinical language, he called them ballast lives. He believed that ending such lives was not murder, but mercy, not cruelty, but compassion, and that this mercy would benefit both the individual and society. He didn't wield a gun, but he handed the regime the moral weapon it needed. The scariest part of Hoche's legacy is not that he was evil, it's that he thought he was being rational, and that should terrify us all. Please, like, share, subscribe for more deep history and ethics stories.